My name is Banu. I have two names actually. From Turkey, based in Ankara. I used to be a researcher, but I decided over the years that after my PhD, doing research every day was just not suiting my character. So now I'm more on research management side, supporting researchers to get their research funded. I actually was working with Magdalena for something completely different, related to talent development, and then I started looking at her webpage and saw this grid. Didn't exactly understand what's going on, but and then took the course, and that's how it all started. Only to-do lists with no specific strength in them, I guess. I think I enjoyed the writing with the pencil side. I hadn't been doing that in a long time, and I think that felt good. And the highlighter turned into something that just suited me very much because I love colors and I love colorful things. And so, like, I made every grid a different color, and then I made the same colors of calendars on my email. And so, like, my grid every day turns out to be colorful. So it just, kind of suited my personality. And that's actually one thing I like about it, because you can play around with it and change it as you evolve over the years. So I think that's the thing I like the most about it. Recently, actually, I've stopped doing monthly and weekly grids. It just became overwhelming after a while. When you get the hang of it, I think the number of terms you need the grids for decrease. At least that's how it turned out for me. But now, Monday is kind of like my weekly grid. And then from Monday, I just move on to the other days. And nowadays, I'm thinking of moving career and work to the top and self-care and personal life to the bottom in my four quarters, because I feel like, okay, I'm on top of things in terms of self-care. Self-care is the top left grid of mine. And I feel like I'm not as much on top of things in terms of career. So I thought, okay, maybe self-care is so good because it's the first one I see every day. So now I'm going to give it a try and see if I can get more on top of things in career if I'm. My train of thought has changed. And as I said, I have four colors on my grid. And when I have all four colors on my grid, I feel fulfilled for that day. And sometimes you can't really do it because you're either traveling or you have a busy, meeting schedule or something. Every so often, it does happen that I cannot do my daily grid. And I just have started a kind of like a nervous feeling where I don't feel on top of things. And the next day, I know, if I do the grid, I'll feel on top of things, and it works. I mean, I've experienced that a few times, especially after some travels, work travels, because you're always in a meeting or something, and you don't really have much time because you're kind of more devoted, more working in a group, and you have a tight time schedule, so you can't say, let me work on this for 5 minutes and then leave or something. In 2-3 times this happened over the year. A few days later, when I did the grid, that slight anxiety went away. So I've kind of realized that it's become an integral part of my daily life, and when I don't do it, I feel bad about it. It's been a little over a year, and since I've started using it, and last year basically I was 41 years old, and it was the first time in my life I did a yearly to-do list with the gridding style, of course. And I had never devoted so much time to doing such a planning. My habit is to notice the things I haven't done. So like the other day when I was looking at my yearly grid, I was saying, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But I mean, the grid kind of helps me remind myself that there are other things that you have done. And even though my initial response is to look at the things I haven't done, reading in a few minutes reminds me somehow all the things I have done, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm accomplishing things. And if I weren't doing that, I probably wouldn't be that aware of my targets. So at the beginning of the year, I think I spent like 4 or 5 hours for 2 days working on the grids, what I wanted to do and what I wanted to accomplish in each. And devoting that time to thinking on that actually made me realize all the different types of things I want to do. And when you can define those, you can actually define the subtasks of each of them. It becomes easier, and you can, define how you want to proceed. I do daily grids, and recently I actually did a last quarter of the year grid, like around August and September. I hadn't ever done a quarterly grid, but it kind of suited me better. And I'm looking forward to my next yearly grid. So year, quarter, day. But the day, as I said, is a little bit merged with the weekly grid because Monday is a weekly list. I think that has something to do with the type of job I do. Nothing is really dependent on you. There are other parameters and other people involved. So even though you say, I'm going to finish this on Monday, you send it to somebody and then that person checks it and then they send it back to you or something. So the daily grid doesn't exactly suit that. But the weekly grid was just overdoing it for me. It's kind of like the middle version of that suited me better in terms of the tasks for work. I actually have started recommending it to a few of my close friends. They see my notebook, my agenda, and they say, "What is that?" Because it kind of like, I think all those four colors help. It looks like little, I guess, a candified little agenda. So they say, "What is this?" And I've started telling a few people about it. I think most of the people I've told them about are either my friends or my colleagues. And actually, even though I haven't really talked much about it or the details, the way it makes me think has also influenced how I communicate with my mother as well. Because over the past few years, we've started following the responsibilities, the errands of our daily lives together, like, switch the tires of the car or pay the blah blah tax and things like that. So trying to plan those things out, but because we're two people who have to do it, indirectly made me introduce it to my mother as well. So I think that answers two questions. I mean, would you and to whom? So yes, of course I would, and I have. Because, I mean, we have been discussing work-life balance for quite a few years now. And with the grid, it made me realize that work and life is just not enough. I mean, all the dimensions of our lives, or all the dimensions in our lives, is just not binary. It's not like just work and life. And I think thinking of it in terms of, 4 quarters, it's a bit easier to put things into those little hats, basically. And I think the train of thought of defining goals and defining how much time each goal actually needs and figuring that for yourself, for you it might need 2 hours, for me it might need 4 hours. But I mean, to be able to figure that out for yourself with this tool, I think just makes you more aware of yourself. So yourself, you're actually growing with it, and it makes you feel more satisfied with all the things you're accomplishing on the way.